freedom of ingestion is a basic human right.
Hello, freedom fiends. It's your boy Dean from the U.S. Get the U.S. out my bloodstream. I owe me and that include endorphins. No one won't ask permission and I won't say please. Freedom fans, one fact that I gotta make clear is it ain't about your heater, then you nothing but a dearest. You can read and type, but when the jack is coming, I know you lose the fight on your ass with your thumbing.
Good morning, Senator. Here's your coffee.
Thanks, I'll need it. I have so many laws to write before November.
I'm so excited.
You should be. Slim majority lets me tell everyone what to do.
Freedom of ingestion, it's more than a suggestion. And no, it ain't a question, but them hoes just keep oppressing. And so we teaching lessons for those with cheapest sessions and those with Smith & Wessons. Freedom is possession.
The Lord said that what goes into a man's mouth is not what defiles him, but what comes out of it. For out of his mouth comes lies and hate.
Some of the first weapon restriction laws in the United States were passed in the South in the 1870s as a response to the freeing of recently enslaved African Americans. These laws were specifically designed to prevent freed slaves from possessing weapons while allowing the white landowner to maintain his power.
The Second Amendment to the United States Constitution says, "A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed." By the way, the phrase well-regulated does not mean under government control. At the time of its writing, it meant well-trained and with equipment in good condition. Supreme Court Justice Scalia clearly understood this when he recently wrote for the majority in Heller that the adjective well-regulated implies nothing more than the imposition of proper discipline and training.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
To me, the Second Amendment means we always have an insurance policy. The Second Amendment is a guarantor of our right to say no.
And if you pick up any dictionary, the word no does not mean some or with the exception of or except as provided for by law. It means no. And any parent with kids knows that what part of no don't you understand? Apparently, there's a part of no that our government does not understand.
Governments are like pushy parents. Do you want pushy parents?
I'm not a gun enthusiast. I'm not a hunter. I'm not a member of the NRA. But there's one thing that guns mean to me, and they represent freedom. Slaves and conquered peoples are not allowed to own guns. And I will never be in that group. And I don't want any other American to ever be in that group.
There we go. That worked. Good.
The only people who want to disarm you and take away those things which you wish to own are those who want to be your masters. And it doesn't matter whether they're from the government or from the PTA.
A citizen is a person with a gun. A peasant is a person without a gun.
A gun to me means I'm a free American. I would like to ask every politician who supports gun control, just what part of the Second Amendment don't you understand? Just what part of infringed don't you understand? And why is it that you, along with your bed partners of the NEA, try to rewrite American history and force your beliefs down the throats of our school students and tell them that the Second Amendment did not bestow or protect an individual right to keep and bear arms?
Teachers' unions have become a bad thing because they support the status quo of the slave camps, of the indoctrination centers.
Germany, the party in power at the time, the National Socialist Party, passed a law requiring all Jews to register their weapons. Shortly thereafter, they passed a law requiring Jews to surrender certain weapons. Law stacked on top of law until all Jews were legally forbidden to own weapons, eventually winding up in the concentration camps.
You get into a very slippery slope where you get into the Führer principle, where people get it into their head that the government has the power to do whatever they want if it's for society's best interest or for someone's best interest or for some well-intended cause.
Politicians want to whittle away at our Second Amendment in order to protect themselves, so that when they begin to make policy that people would vociferously disagree with, there is no resistance. I believe it is so that when they finally attempt to put themselves in power indefinitely, no one has any way to stop them.
All right, thanks for coming back for the second part of this class. Again, my name's Timothy, and I'm from the government, and I'm here to help you. We are now going to assume that I'm going to be the bad guy charging at you, and I need you to take the defensive role we went over. Are you ready? Yep. Good job.
What do you think about guns and people being able to have guns?
I think that people have the right to protect themselves.
In Cambodia in 1975, Pol Pot restricted private ownership of weapons en route to the Khmer Rouge killing grounds. Joseph Stalin in the Soviet Union tried the same approach, restricted weapons possession for private folk, and shipped millions off to the Gulag.
Anybody in authority wants to disarm honest people because they see themselves as being the person, the power, the person of all-knowing that they want to impose their values on everybody else. They feel it's a threat to their authority if honest people are allowed to carry a weapon for self-defense.
Could never happen in America? What about New Orleans? Hurricane Katrina aftermath, 2005, when the mayor, Ray Nagin, declared, "No one will be allowed to be armed. We are going to take all the guns." Shouldn't the aftermath of a natural disaster be the exact moment at which people need their weapons?